Man, me and you have had a very good time together this past month. It's been a wild ride. We've gone through lots of changes. We've gone through lots of, you know, different things. I've experienced new things while I was with you. Things that I've always wanted to, see and do, but just never really could in the past because, I had other priorities. But now, you are my one and only priority. The great Xbox. You're my one and only. You are the only thing that I have eyes for, and what? Oh, this is awkward. Uh, Switch, meet Xbox, Xbox, Switch. You two, I know you come from different heritage, you guys. It's just, I still love you, but I I need to experience new things, from time to time, especially when it's from a camp in the sector of gaming that I really don't have that much experience in. And you can understand that. I didn't start. I was a Nintendo guy, right? I was originally a Sony guy, and then I fused into Nintendo and Sony and that combination for years, eons, for my whole life. But now I need that third pillar that I've never had before, and that pillar is Xbox. So I hope you can understand that. You have a smudge on your face right now. Okay, I didn't get the smudge, but I'm glad we come to an understanding. All right, so I'll just sit you back here, and you could watch. Oh, over there. Look at that. They're best friends already. Okay, so yes, I have finally gotten an Xbox system. It's Let me tell you, it has been a very, very strange experience going through this. Like I said, I've never owned an Xbox until very recently. I've spent about a month and a half, going on 2 months with it now. It's been great. I mean, all the games on it that I wanted to play, I've almost picked them all up. Of course, I haven't played through all of them, but it's it's like going to a foreign country and experiencing everything it has to offer. That's the best way I could describe uh, me owning an Xbox 360. So where I got this system from, actually, it was kind of like almost like fate, almost, because I was looking for an Xbox system, Xbox 360 more specifically, and I went to a swap meet and they had a bunch of Xboxes. They were like original Xboxes, and of course they didn't have any Xbox 60s. But I looked at the back at the storage, and there this was just sitting there with no plugs or anything. And I was like, I wonder if he's selling it. Okay. So I asked him, "Are you selling that?" And he's like, "I sell everything." So of course I had to jump on that. I got it for $10. So all I do is just get the plugs, and let me tell you, that was a very strange process in and of itself. One thing I can say about the Xbox 360, I've had the most problems with this system in the 2 months. We'll just say 2 months that I've owned it. With then with any console ever. Like, of course, the red ring of death. Of course, that's a thing. But and that did actually happen to me once throughout my time of owning it. Luckily, it wasn't like a permanent thing. But let's just go through the problems, I guess. So first thing, yes, it's mouth popped off. This is actually more recently, and yeah, that happened. It The reason why this happened though is because I was trying to get the freaking disc tray off. Like, you click this and it's supposed to come out, but the thing about the 360, at least this 360, is that sometimes it gets stuck. It gets stuck and it get jammed. So I'd have to time it. So I click the button, but like there's like a little click that happens when it's like ejecting out the disc. So I'd have to actually put my finger right here and let it help it like take out the disc. It was really bad. Like I said, more problems with this than any other system. But that's just one thing. So another thing was that this I did not know that there was multiple kinds of power plugs. Luckily, I already knew what the power plug was, uh, because this is the one my brother actually owned. But I had to go searching for the very specific one that this one had because apparently the newer models have like different power plugs than this one. So yeah, that was another problem. And then of course it red ringed, and that was due to me playing, I guess, for 8 hours. So I guess it's my fault. But I did have all the vents open. It really shouldn't just like red ring like that. Is it a bad thing that whenever I turn it on, I'm always afraid that it's gonna be red ring? Maybe that's just like the conditioning after seeing everything that's happened to previous owners. Even my brother, he had to go through like I think three Xbox 360s because they all red ringed on him. So yeah, that's just the Xbox 360. But yeah, as you can tell, it's very smudged up. It was $10, so uh, I'd say it's worth the price. And then another thing is that this, I don't know if this is a faceplate or if somebody spray painted this. Now my brother said that somebody spray painted this, and one reason I could possibly agree is that there's these little white dots here. If you can see those, I feel like that's part of the spray painting that, and it's somewhat on this ring here. So I think that whoever owned this previously probably spray painted this instead of getting a new faceplate. Not sure why they would do that. Maybe they weren't readily available. I don't know the history behind it. So yeah, that's one of the things behind me getting an Xbox is that Xbox was always the third wheel that I never really hung out with. Just it was there, but it's just nah, I'm good. Like whenever I went into a game store, right? I would go to the Sony section, then I would go to the Nintendo section, or vice versa. And anytime I saw Xbox section, I was just immediately glance and then look away because I never owned an Xbox, never was really interested in Xbox. So now that I'm getting to the point in my life where I want to own all three systems and actually experience all of what gaming has to offer in terms of Xbox mostly, because I've been with Sony and Nintendo for like the longest, and Xbox is just something I've never really experienced. My very limited experience comes from when my brother owned an Xbox back in the day with like the Halo 3 and stuff. Like Halo 3 specifically, that is still to this day my number one favorite online game experience ever. Like mainly because it was probably my first one. So being able to actually chat with people in my hometown while playing a video game on the actual video game console and not like a phone or anything was insane. And then of course being able to play with people from across the world just on my system and being able to chat with them at the same time and message them, like it's pretty insane. It's become like a standard thing that's on most systems nowadays. It's crazy. And then I also got this I have this hard drive with it too. I don't think you noticed. Whatever. It's like a 13 gigabyte. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's good for this. I remember like PS3 weren't PS3s like 100 gigs, something like that, 500 gigs. I'm not sure. It hasn't filled up at all since since I've gotten all these games and installed them and everything. So it's not really a huge concern to me. The biggest things I've seen is like updates that are 2 megabytes. So I think it should be good for a long time. But yeah, overall it's been pretty fun. I'm not sure how much longer I can talk about the actual system. I will talk about the controller though. This thing. I always thought that this controller was just extremely bulky, and it was very comfortable. Don't get me wrong. It's just if you play for a long period of time, especially on this controller, like yesterday, I was playing with my Switch Pro controller, and it almost feels like this, but it's a little bit, I guess, less harder to hold. That didn't sound good at all, but it's just more comfortable to hold. And then this one, I don't know. After a while, my hands start to cramp. It's no, it's fine, but it's just what am I trying to say? It's a it's a good controller, but it's just not like comfortable to hold over a long period of time. And then lastly, probably this. This is a wireless adapter, which I had no idea you needed to get wireless on this. I thought you could just do it through the actual system like on the PS3, but apparently with this you need a wireless adapter. See, the thing about this one is that it's an older model, so that's why it needed this. Newer models don't need this. And I just found this at a pawn shop, so I was like, I do need it, so I might as well just pick it up. I have been playing online. I personally didn't pay for it. My brother paid for it. I've been playing Gears of War, at least Gears of War 2, because for some reason you can't play it on Xbox One. You can't like cross play it. But yeah, that's what that's what the system looks like, and that's what the controller looks like. Now let's get on to the most important part, which is the games. Trying to put that back. All right. Well, okay. So these are all the games that I've gotten. They're not all of them. I have gotten one digital game, and that game, of course, if you know me, Banjo-Kazooie. I said like Crash Bandicoot. Banjo-Kazooie. I freaking love that game. That is, I think that's the only game other than Halo 3 that I played and beat. Oh yeah, and Sonic Unleashed. Sonic Unleashed was actually my first 360 game. But Banjo-Kazooie, man, that I can play that game any day of the week, 100%, like just all the way through in an afternoon. It's the best. If you haven't played Banjo-Kazooie, you're doing yourself a disservice. It is definitely worth it. Like, no question about that, because that game is freaking fantastic. Anyways, Banjo-Kazooie is freaking amazing. If you haven't played it, play it. I think it's personally better than Super Mario 64. But anyways, let's move on to the, I guess, physical games. So, like I said, these aren't all my games. I did get two other games that I personally didn't, well, three other games that I personally didn't like. One being The Last Remnant. I thought it was very boring. The combat system, it was interesting, but it's just the load times and the characters and the story were just too much. Like the load times were too long, and the story and the characters weren't grasping me really. Usually with an RPG, I can tell if I'm gonna like it based on like the first 10 hours. Yeah, that's how patient I am. So yeah, I wasn't really enjoying it. I also didn't like how it looked, the art style. It just reminded me of this generation of games where it's just like gray and black. No, I'm done with that. I'm definitely done with that. But another game was Blue Dragon. I liked it, but it's just, again, just like the Last Remnant, the story and characters weren't really grasping me. So especially for an RPG, you really have to have a story that you really like and characters that you can really, appreciate and really get to know, and you actually like them. Yeah, I didn't particularly like any of the characters. So that's pretty much what that game was. I did like the combat system and everything. It's just, again, the story just wasn't grasping me. Trying to think, what was the other one that I didn't like? There was another. Oh yeah, Transformers Devastation. That was the third game. Made by Platinum Games. Like I said, I'm glad I played it because that pretty much proves my thinking on Platinum Games, where the original stuff is good, but their licensed stuff, stay away from that, because that game was insanely just generic, and it used the Bayonetta witch time mechanic for its combat, and it had all this upgrade stuff that was just completely unnecessary. And visually the game just did not look good at all. I did not like that game at all. Probably my least favorite Platinum game I've ever played, and that's saying a lot because most, if not all, their games I freaking love. But anyways, I'm glad that they made it. I'm glad I played it, because now I know, and now they know what not to do in the future. They seem to be getting, really good. They seem to be doing a lot better nowadays, especially since they're, considering, self-publishing their own games. But anyways, this isn't about Platinum Games. Let's talk about these games. So first game here is Crackdown. Now this is a game that I feel like not enough Xbox guys talk about. This game is an open world game. This pretty much embodies everything an open world game like this should be, where you're not restricted to doing missions and all that. You're more so like exploring, and while you're exploring, you're also completing the story at the same time. See, like unlike Grand Theft Auto, Grand Theft Auto, you get into these missions, they give you a cutscene to set it up, and then you're restricted to doing, whatever task they want you to do, and if you fail it, then you have to start over. This game, it has you exploring all over the map, and collecting all these different ability orbs to improve your abilities. They always say in this game, skills for kills. So it promotes different ways of actually killing the enemies by actually benefiting your different um, by actually benefiting all your different categories. So if you defeat enemies with objects and throw them at them, then that'll actually benefit your strength. Or if you just shoot enemies, it'll improve your shooting ability and how well you can aim and all that. And then as you run around in the open world, you actually get these agility orbs that'll help your jumping ability, which getting more and more, it makes the game just feel a lot better to play. I really like that because, again, you're exploring this big open world, but at the same time you're doing the story. And I feel like that's something a lot of open world games like miss. You have this open world, but they restrict you. It kind of goes against it being an open world. So I think Crackdown is probably one of the most underrated Xbox 360 games I've played so far. I really enjoyed it. It's very fun. Then the next game is Gears of War. Yes, one of the big three. Halo, Gears, Forza, all that. So I've beaten the first one. I really liked it, actually. There was one thing I really liked about Gears of War was the level design. I really like how they introduced all the different aliens, and they really kept the game fresh. Another thing I also really liked about this game was the challenge. There was a lot of very challenging parts in this game that I really enjoyed, playing through. I played on the second highest difficulty. It wouldn't let you play on the highest one. It wouldn't let you play on the highest one, but I really enjoyed this. I'd really like to play this, co-op with my brother, but like I said, they won't let you play Xbox One and Xbox 360 because I guess he has the Ultimate Edition. I guess that's why. And I have like the 360 versions. That's probably why it wouldn't let me play with him. But we are playing through the second one, co-op, so that's been a lot of fun too. But yeah, Gears of War was another game that I played with my brother back in the day. I actually played the last level, I think the second game, with my brother and his friends, and all I did was just use the chainsaw. It's freaking awesome. So yeah, Gears of War, definitely another game that I really enjoyed so far. And now we move on to the one game that every Xbox 360 owner should have. Dead or Alive Extreme 2. Now this is one game that I really wanted to play on the 360. And that's solely because I've always heard about these extreme games, the extreme volleyball games, but I've never actually played them or anything. Mainly because, of course, they're always on 360 or Xbox or something like that. So, of course, when I picked up my 360, I was like, Dead or Alive Extreme 2. That is top priority, one of the first games I'm getting. And I freaking love this game. It was actually my favorite Xbox 360 game until a certain other game came along. But this game, man, if you want just a fun video game, this is it. All you do is you take one of the girls, you play as one of the girls, and you just go on a vacation with them. And you play volleyball, you go water skiing, there's a water slide. There's this really cool button mini game where you have to press the buttons lightly. Let me actually try to show an example. Okay, so say you're pressing Y. There's a mini game where you have to step across the water, but step across it in a very specific way. So you have to lightly tap it or heavily tap it depending on how far it is from you. And I just really like that. I feel like that should be a Mario Party mini game if it isn't already. But yeah, I love the mini games. I just love this game in general. Another thing I really, really freaking love about this game is the soundtrack. This game made me realize how badly most games need an R&B soundtrack. That is the most chill thing ever to listen to. If you're having a bad day, just put this game into your 360 and you will immediately just feel just that sense of bliss. And you could take pictures, you go long walks on the beach. It's great, man. I freaking love this game. But another game, Dead or Alive 4, my first Dead or Alive game, at least regular Dead or Alive game. I think this is kind of similar to Summer and Conqueror, where I play the water squirting game first, the third person shooter first, before I actually play a traditional game. So it's really weird to see everybody, in their regular, I guess, in their regular like personalities and with their factions and everything, everybody being all serious. But I liked it. It's a fighting game. I'm not really a big fan of fighting games, especially modern fighting games. But this was right before the era of DLC, so that's why I chose to get this game specifically because there's no DLC. And I went through and actually unlocked all the characters, and that was fun. I actually wanted to get in the series sooner with Dead or Alive 6 and 5, but if you know anything about 6 and 5, you know how much DLC is in that game. Like, oh god, I'm not even touching those. Now let's go on to the actual best game that I've played so far on the 360. A game that I don't think gets enough credit. A game that I don't think gets enough credit is Dead freaking Rising. I loved this game, man. If I can set it up correctly. Okay. This game is just, oh my god. Like, you know how I said in my dreams video, you know how I said before that I love games with time limits? Well, this is a game with a time limit, and you have to solve this mystery surrounding around this infection going around in the city for 3 days and get on the helipad when your helicopter arrives. So in this game, you have to rescue, all these different survivors, but at the same time, you also have to solve things. So in that process, there's a lot of time management that goes into it. A lot of decisions that have to be made on the fly. A lot of people you have to save, but you have such limited time. And it is possible to get all survivors, but you just have to play extremely well and really know your way around the mall. And that's the fun part. Familiarizing yourself around the mall is just so much fun. And then also the zombies, I didn't expect the zombies to be as aggro as they were. So I can't tell you how many times I've went past a zombie and it actually grabbed me. Like, I'm like, wow, that actually grabbed me. I was expecting, all the zombies to be, like dumb as bricks, the AI to just let me run past them. But a lot of the time, if you get close enough, they'll lunge at you. They'll even lunge at you, but they won't even grab you. They'll just hit you. They'll just like give you like little tap and still do damage to you. It's crazy. The amount of detail that's in this game is great. I was also very impressed that I was able to play through this game like all the way through without even crashing. Like, I don't know if that was kind of like a, again, like kind of like a conditioning thing where sometimes it happens like nowadays. You have a lot of things on screen and it crashes, but this game, I guess they specifically designed it around that, so you could run over like thousands, like hundreds and hundreds and thousands of zombies in a car without it even crashing. I also really like the main character in this game, like Frank. I was expecting him to be like this wisecrack Joker, but like he's actually a pretty honest, like straightforward character. I really enjoyed him. I really enjoyed him as a character, and then also the story was just really grounded and just. I really like this game. I honestly want to honestly kind of want to make a video about this game sometime. So like, of course, in this game you can use almost anything as a weapon. You can use, like in this example, like I really like this cover art too. It has Frank here with a TV swinging at zombies, like in a crowd of zombies, and yeah, that you can actually do that. That will probably actually happen to you in the game, and that's what I love about this cover. This is probably my favorite like video game covers of all time. It's just a really fun game. If you haven't played Dead Rising, definitely play it. I know later down the path they kind of ruined the franchise, especially with 4. Jesus Christ. But this game, definitely check it out if you own a 360. It's fantastic. So now on to the games that I haven't really played too much of. I actually just got this game today, Alan Wake. I've heard a lot about it. I think this is from the same people that made, Remedy. So it's the same people that made Max Payne. I freaking love Max Payne. Max Payne 1 and 2 specifically. I thought Max Payne 3 was absolute trash. Probably because it wasn't made by Remedy. So I'm actually very excited to check this out because I've heard nothing but great things about it. So that's really all I can say about it. Gears of War 2 I am actually playing right now, like I said, with co-op with my brother. I'm enjoying that. I'm not liking it as much as the first one, but maybe it'll get better. Maybe it'll match the original. But so far, I'm not really liking the level design as much. And then I also got Gears of War 3 as well. Definitely will probably play that right after 2 with my brother. But that's my 360 and my collection so far. Let me know what you guys think about the Xbox and Xbox 60. Let me know if you've ever had an Xbox. Like, let me know if you ever had an Xbox and what's your experience with that. I'd really like to hear you guys' stories on, your Xbox experience and all that, and what games I should check out. So that's it for me. I'll see you guys next time. Okay. These are really boring themes. Let's fix that. There we go.